Come join us each week as we dive into topics about the joys and the struggles of motherhood. By no means are we experts. We're practically flying by the seat of our pants, or should I say, mom jeans. On this podcast, you will find a judgment-free zone where we discuss not only the best parts of being a mom, but the not-so-glamorous parts too. You can expect unfiltered, real mom talk, humor, grace, and a sense of sisterhood. What makes our podcast unique is that we understand there's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to being a mother. We're not going to pretend that we know everything too, because we definitely don't. We just want a place to share our stories with you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mom Jeans, trying to fit into motherhood.
Welcome back to Mom Jeans, the podcast. Today we have two special guests. Ryan's returning. That is Michelle's husband and my husband, Brandon. First time on the podcast. Very exciting. So today we are going to talk about two kids under 2, and Ryan and Michelle are expecting their second in August. And so they are getting some advice from us, and then they're going to ask us some questions. But we're going to start how we always start our podcast with high-low. So Michelle and Ryan, do you want to talk about your high and your low of the week?
This weekend we got the chance to go to Sedona. This is interesting, like talking
being in the same
room, but I kind of love it.
I know.
Anyways, went to Sedona, and it was the most vacation mode I've gotten into in so long. Like, I can't remember the last time I just took a nap during the day. I'm not a napper generally, and just to be able to relax like that and have no plans. We had the only thing was this amazing sprinkle that Lisa had planned, because that was my other high of the week. Yeah. So for baby number 2, Lisa planned a sprinkle for us, and it was just a perfect, quaint, simple brunch with really great food, great games, and great friends. So it was awesome. So those are my 2 highs of the week, of getting in vacation mode and the sprinkle.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I will talk about our daughter. And
Shocking.
just over the last couple of months, I just saw it a lot this weekend on display of her becoming independent and gaining confidence. And we have a little slide in our backyard, and to see her go to a bigger slide and do it all by herself, and just seeing that confidence build in her that know she can do something, it was really cool to see.
Yeah. There was a pool maybe 300 yards away from our house. There was this llama inflatable stuff, or inflatable toy for the pool. And every morning she'd be like, "Llama!" And if we didn't go with her, she would have gone all the way by herself to the pool, said hi to the llama, she waves at it, and then and then walked all the way back. So that was really cute.
That's awesome.
So not really many lows this week, except more teeth coming in, and just
That's what I was going to say.
sucks.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
a fun time.
No.
Messes with everything.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, our high. Do you want me to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. So our high of the week has been really fun. So Hannah has been making Aubrey belly laugh, and we don't really succeed at that all that well ourselves, but Aubrey cranes her neck in the car to look around to see what Hannah's doing. It's adorable. And then all of a sudden Aubrey will just start bursting out laughing, and I'm like, "Hannah, what are you doing? What are you doing to make her laugh?" And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, what? I can't see her, so I don't have a clue what she's doing, but I have a mirror on Aubrey's side, so I can see Aubrey just turning around the corner, and then just starts giggling. So that's been very, very cute. I really enjoyed that.
I would say our low, I feel like we failed for the first time as parents. Hannah has swim lessons every Monday and Wednesday. And we talked about it in the morning that we were going to take her yesterday, and it was 5:00. That's when they start. And we were like, oh my gosh, we need to go to swim lessons. Lisa was driving her home from school, and I was at home. So we just met at the pool, And she got in for like 10 minutes out of the half hour, but she loved it. It was great. I felt so bad because I finally forgot something about her, and I was like, wasn't nice.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. It was like, oh man, like we finally didn't, and we have it in our calendar, and I have a reminder.
We talked about it that morning.
Yeah,
It was
totally blinked on it. It happened.
busy day.
Yeah.
2.5 years in, your first parenting
Yeah,
fail.
that's pretty
impressive.
That's pretty good. We're
Yeah.
pretty happy with that. Yeah. Success.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, let's jump into it. So we will start with 3 pointers or things that we've learned in the 8 months tomorrow of having 2 kids. So the first thing that I would say, that number one thing is communication.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're communicating as honestly as you can.
And that covers everything. Like the one thing we found is Lisa would do one thing with Hannah or Aubrey, and I would do another thing, and we would both get frustrated at each other, but we didn't talk about it. And then, and so every night we started to recap the nights and the days and say, look, here's how I think we should handle this. And we kind of got to a point where we're finally merging and able to be on the same page with what we want to do for our kids. And before we would just get mad at each other and then be mad. And it's like, well, this isn't helping anyone.
Right.
So
Yeah.
talk it out. Anything.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the things I'm trying to mentally prepare for, and I wouldn't say I'm anxious about. Just trying to, how do you tackle it? It's like all of a sudden you go from 2-on-1, and you're kind of doing everything together, or one is solo, etc. Then you have to go man-to-man defense, like 1-to-1, and you're probably doing different things in different rooms, and that's just, if one feels lonely in a lot of ways, and you don't get a break.
Yeah.
Like those are the 2 things, and then on top of that is like this communication that you need to continue to have.
We definitely, and I would say we did a divide and conquer, and it ended up that Brandon was with Hannah a lot because I was having to feed Aubrey, and I hadn't pumped at that point, so it wasn't like I had backup bottles to be able to let him do that kind of stuff. So that made it challenging, and like you said, like then when I would go see Hannah and like I felt like I was neglecting her for a while, I'd be like, oh, I didn't know that that's what you were doing with Hannah, and that's what we have to do as a consistent team, because you don't want it to be like they know, like, oh, mom's around, I can go eat all the chocolate I want, and dad doesn't let me do that. So, and same thing, with Aubrey, like it was tough in the beginning because like I was with her so much that the bond got really strong between me and her, that when I wasn't with her, then he had a really hard time, like, in the beginning stages when you're like trying to figure your kid out and you're like, why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? And we realized, like with Hannah, she was always cold. And then with Aubrey, she was overtired. She was always overtired, but it took us 2 months to figure that out, right? And then you're at each other too, because you're like, why can't we figure this out? We've done this before. It's hard.
But even that, like you figured all that out with Aubrey first, and then you would go out, and I had Aubrey, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So like, as well as you're divide and conquering, make sure you switch it up.
Totally.
And communicate that, because like I said, I was so lost the first night with her. I think I was on the phone with you, and I was like, I shouldn't have to do this.
Yeah.
I should know what I'm doing.
Come home. Right. Yes. Yeah, that was a challenge, but yeah, I think that was, I mean, gosh, that could be 1, 2, and 3 pieces of advice for sure. Like, I think, I'm trying to think.
We had another one. I forgot what it was.
We did. We had definitely,
Okay, divide and conquer. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I think the third one was, remember that your kid is still a kid. Like 2 under 2, you expect the older one to be older, but for Hannah, she's still 2. Like,
right.
We're expecting her to be the mature older sister, but she's still 2, and like let her be 2. Don't push too hard too fast.
We would be like, Hannah, can you go get us a towel for Aubrey, because she spit up, and she'd go grab that towel, and we'd be like, oh, she's so helpful, and it's like you have to worry about like resentment and stuff like that too. We're definitely going through regressions with Hannah for sure, and like the first few months were great with Aubrey, and and she adores Aubrey. I mean, it's amazing. Like, she wants to see her the first thing she wakes up. She wants to see her. It's so wonderful. But it's like we're trying potty training, and now Hannah sees, oh, Aubrey gets more attention because she gets her diaper changed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have accidents. So you have to come hang out with me and change me and do those kinds of things. And it's a challenge. And again, we have to remember she's 2.5. And
Right.
a lot of people don't even start potty training till 3. And we expect this out of her because she's not a baby anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Still are.
she's still our baby.
Aw.
Yeah, but it's so fun, you guys know. I mean, like, Cece, it's crazy watching Cece now. Like, it's clicked where she processes what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's using words. She knows what she wants.
Yep.
Like, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
It
really
seems
fun.
like it's overnight, but it's been a months long build up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
But-
like, oh my god, all these words, all these
Yeah.
actions are here.
In the skate, I mean, for other years, but like it feels fast. Like something clicks at 14 months, and
It
then
totally does.
yeah, and then it just accelerates from there. It's
Yeah,
so cool.
baby.
Every day, it's
Yeah.
like, what new word's going to come out of your mouth and all the above. So
That was
Well,
my
also-
favorite. I remember the click of, like, I said something to Hannah one day and I was like, go get your shoes. And she went and did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, whoa, this is
What?
mind
How do you know
blowing.
that?
Yeah,
Whoa.
how did you know how to
Yeah.
do that?
yeah,
That was the bigger surprise. Is not like, yes, she could do it, but where did she learn it? 'Cause
Yeah.
It's not like we were pushing that. It's like she
Mhm.
just picked it up and said words that we were like, who told you those?
Yeah.
Right? You know?
We're still like, where'd you learn that? That's cool. That's really cool.
What did she do the other day? And we're both like, what? How do you know how to do? Like, put something in the trash
I was
can?
thinking, well, yeah, she can throw stuff away, and then when we planted the flowers, she was like, oh, the shovel, and she was helping
That's
shovel,
what
and I
it
was like,
scooping
who
dirt.
taught you how to?
How would you ever know how to do this?
We've never
given
you a
Yeah.
shovel before, so
Okay, I'm just gonna shovel dirt.
yeah,
That's great. It's so
Yeah.
cool. So cool.
oh my gosh,
Well, that was short and sweet, but
Yeah.
those are
There was 3 pieces in there.
there's always more.
Yeah.
but-
Come back and
Communication,
you can edit it
divide
back
and
in.
conquer.
Yeah.
and remember,
But
It's
dividing
great.
and conquering, make sure to remember to try and switch it up. Try
Yeah.
to give, like, I can remember crying because I could hear Hannah crying in her room for me while I'm trying to put Aubrey down. And I was like, oh, my first baby, right? Like, I'm neglecting her. I feel
I
so
know.
terrible. And then I kept thinking, you know what? This is temporary. I'm lucky she's only 2.5 years old. She's not going to remember this,
Yeah.
that I neglected her,
Yeah.
quote unquote. That's not neglect, but she won't remember that, and I'm going to make an effort. And that's when I got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to try to put her down every other night. Luckily, their bedtimes are far enough apart now that you can do both in one night too. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we just have to get better and still get better at that. Yeah. So anyway, all right, questions.
Oh, sorry, that's a great segue
Yeah.
to my question.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, how do you make sure your firstborn is not feeling that all the focus is on the new baby?
So a couple of things. So first thing is I signed Hannah up for music class that she would just be with me, and I would never bring Aubrey with. That was my rule because I wanted her to have that one-on-one time with me. And I mean, that's only, once a week, but we definitely tried really hard to every single day have time where Hannah was by herself with one of us, just to say it's all about you.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, oh, like saying it to a baby that doesn't understand, but oh, Aubrey, you have to wait. I'm with Hannah right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really trying to.
Yeah, like Hannah always wanted to have what Aubrey was having. Like if she's being held, Hannah wants to be. It's like, well, you have to wait, Hannah. But we tried to put that back on Aubrey too, even though it didn't matter. Like for Aubrey, Hannah heard us say it to Aubrey as well.
that's good.
So she got the idea. Okay, it's not just me they're saying it to. We're also saying it to her.
Yeah.
And like she said, just making sure to give her individual attention. Whether it's both or each or whatever you can do.
Mm-hmm.
The nice part was Aubrey would go down and we could both kind of play with Hannah before her bedtime.
Yeah.
So like just give her the attention she wants. But
Yeah, well, and that was one of the things I saw in one of the like parenting things was like, don't ever say oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now because I'm with the baby. Because then they start to build that resentment of like, oh, the baby's the reason I can't have my mommy.
Sure.
Like say, oh, you know what, I'm busy right now,
Yep.
but when I'm done, I'll be with you, right? Instead of I'm feeding the baby, I'll be with you later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was one thing.
Good one.
I tried, you try the best you can. You're of course going to slip up and make mistakes on that, but
And you think it's going well? I think we got lucky that Hannah really likes Aubrey. Like from the beginning, she just
Yeah.
wanted to be near her and around her. So I think that helped. I think I've seen kids that just don't like their sibling, and I think that would be much more difficult. It's hard for us to say because Hannah was just in love from the beginning. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's been going well. So.
yeah, I think it's going well. I mean, like Brandon said, we're pretty good like in the morning because Hannah wakes up so early. She's by herself early for a while. Like I've been trying to take her on walks in the morning or like let her go outside and explore and like trying to let her do whatever she wants really with boundaries of course, but like trying to give her that time. And I think, it's interesting right now, like whoever we say is going to put her down to bed, she wants the other one,
Yeah.
she's very much in that stage right now. So yeah, but I think it's going all right. We'll see. We keep saying, everybody I talk to keeps saying, oh, just wait until they're 3. It gets so much
my
easier
gosh.
after
Yeah.
they're 3. And I'm like, I don't want to wish these years away.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, it'll be nice. I'm so looking forward to when the two of them can play independently. I mean, Hannah tries to play with Aubrey. She's like pulling her arm out of the socket, but right
He was
now,
dragging her around the floor the other day.
oh my
Pulling
gosh,
her.
yeah.
I was like, teach her how to crawl. And she just starts grabbing her arms and pulls her across the rug. I was like, close enough.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, this led to not my like core questions, but 2 side questions here.
Yeah.
So one, how did you prep Hannah for baby?
Great one.
I feel like the books were the most helpful. We had a few big sister books, and we tried to tie those to there's a baby and mommy,
Mhm.
and I think that did help her like understand a little bit, but yeah, the books were helpful. We read to her a lot, but she was also big into reading then. Like that's when she started reading, so she really got that like, feeling from that book. So.
Yeah, I would say we probably didn't do like because we kept being like she's not even 2 yet, right? Like what is she going to process? What is she going to learn? What's she going to understand? So we weren't really like we didn't do a gift for Hannah when Aubrey was born or came home or anything like that. Like it was nice because his parents were in town and they like took her to the pool. So she was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Who are my parents? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it was really great. But yeah, I don't think we did too much, but the books did help. We
Books
really
helped.
liked the helps.
I also was thinking of it now. I think she was learning a lot about my sister's kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to relate like brother, sister, brother there, and like the hierarchy of children. And so like be like, oh, how one kid is their sister, you're getting a sister. Like oh cool. Took away.
It's
Didn't
hard.
work great, but it's like
It's hard with the books now because we keep saying Cece's getting a brother. I have brother too.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
brother for you. Like it's very cute.
Oh,
He can be your surrogate brother.
yes. Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Anytime.
Yeah.
She wants to come over.
we bought a little boy doll for her.
Oh, nice.
And so every night she puts him to bed, which is really
Aw.
sweet. And, who knows if I don't think she's piecing it together, but like, just like, she's starting to learn the word baby though.
Yep.
Oh.
And when we say his name and she like points to my belly,
Yeah.
which is, so these kind of like, again, who knows? And I've also heard trains of thought. I had a friend who just had their second and they're like, we really didn't talk it and we didn't push about it at all.
Yeah.
We just kind of like let it happen and let it be the new normal, which is a great approach too. So
Totally.
it's hard to find
The
you
right.
never know right what's going to work.
I wonder if that'll help because you guys know the baby's name. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't know until she
True.
was born.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like at least you can associate the name,
Yeah.
and if she remembers the name and be like, "This
Yeah.
is Parker,"
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she calls him by his name and everything, and
Mm.
and yeah. So I'm hoping that'll be helpful. But then I think she's going to be confused. There's like, 3 Parkers
Yeah.
now. It's like Parker in my belly, Parker's upstairs, Parker's out in the wild. Like all baby boys are just
Wait,
going to
which
be
one is
Parkers.
it?
Yes.
Parker.
It's like that Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah. So I think we'll see what works. What's I going to say? Oh, another question, sub question. With Parker the doll, we get eyes poked out all the time.
Oh.
How did you manage the gentleness
So,
from Hannah to Aubrey?
oh my gosh, I think I told you guys this story. So we got Hannah, I think, like her first doll right before Aubrey was born, like a month and a half before. And it still breaks my heart to think about this thing. But she took the baby and she got her water bottle and she poured the water bottle she was like waterboarding the baby, like, because she was like, and Brandon yelled at her and was like, "No, you don't pour water on the baby," like, cause like thinking real baby. And she said, "Baby thirsty," and I was like, it literally broke my heart. I was like, oh, she was just trying to give her a drink,
Yeah.
but it was like, she was violent and still is violent with her dolls. And the gentle is hard. The
Yeah.
gentle's still hard at this point, right? Like we just we can't leave them alone, obviously, together, and it's a constant like, no, we don't touch Aubrey's face. Still touches Aubrey's face, right? Like I was so nervous because Aubrey has been so sick because Hannah brings everything home, and now Aubrey's in daycare too. But like, so she was so much sicker than Hannah ever was in the beginning because Hannah's just constantly germs all over her face and all over her. So it's hard. I mean, you just have to wait that out. Unfortunately,
you just take it slow. Like when we first gave Hannah Aubrey, like we she had to be sitting down. She had to have the pillow to hold her. So like it was certain things kind of restricted her movements. And then, you just be right there and you can grab her hand if she's going for the eyes or, whatever.
Because she does. She'll put her hands in her mouth.
Yeah.
She'll put her hands in her eyes and her ears, stick her up in her nose. Like and Aubrey's at the point now where she thinks it's hilarious. Like she doesn't know why this finger's up her nose, but she thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's good. That's second borns, I think. That's just kind of how you guys have done it. I was the firstborn. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I terrorize my sister.
Yes,
so-
right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Seen this debate. It's mostly for Lisa, but also curious your takes as well. Seen this debate on social media. Do you find it was harder to be pregnant, like late stage pregnant with a toddler, or have a newborn with a toddler?
I think it was definitely harder for me to have a newborn with a toddler because I couldn't give Hannah everything she wanted. Like she wanted the constant uppies from me because she saw the baby with me.
Yeah.
And that broke my heart, right? Because then she's crying,
Yeah.
no, mommy uppy, not daddy uppy, and you're like, okay, well, he's chopped liver too, and he's feeling
Yeah.
bad, right? And it's like, that was a lot harder for me. I definitely carried Hannah around while I was pregnant still. Like I did everything.
Same. Yeah.
Shouldn't really probably, I wasn't too worried about it. They're resilient. They're really
They are.
resilient when they're in you. When,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But yeah, no doubt for me.
It's harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. 'Cause it's like right now we're teaching Sierra the basics of these things we haven't had it even introduced before, of sharing,
Yeah.
attention, and it's almost like if she came or if he came now, some things would be harder and some things would be easier.
Yeah.
But like even 7 weeks from now, her concepts of sharing
Sure.
are going to be even more exaggerated. More tantrums are going to come,
Tantrums.
but we'll see. I mean,
You just take it
it's never
as
the right
it is, 'cause,
time.
I mean,
never the wrong time.
no, right? Like, and then that's the whole debate about age differences, right?
Right.
Like, and how age differences should be like, oh, the perfect age difference between your kids is 22 months, 28 months, 36 months. It's like, who knows? Because you're dealing with so many different stages at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild.
And then the stage will change next month for both of them.
So
And
totally,
you have to figure out their new dynamic.
totally. Yep. That's for sure.
Yeah. Except that's the other thing I know I'm just processing is I liked being a newborn mom, but I'm loving being a toddler mom. Like, and so I'm also, I've said it to him many times, is like, how do I not wish away year one with him?
You won't. I will tell you, and I'm not going to get into the weeds of this, of like how many kids you want, but knowing Aubrey was my last baby, or is my last baby,
Yeah.
like I've held on to those stages so much harder than I ever did with
Mhm.
Hannah. Like Hannah, I felt like I was in it, but like now when I think about it, I can't remember any of it. I'm glad I took a
Yeah.
lot of notes, because
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was like, I'll never forget this. I'll never forget
Mhm.
Hannah looking at me for the first time and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Aubrey does something. I'm like, that's totally went so fast. But I'm really trying to soak it in with Aubrey, knowing she's my last baby. And I love the baby cuddles that I don't get from Hannah anymore. That's kind of like, I'm so glad I have Hannah to appreciate more things with Aubrey. And I understand how people say, oh, the baby gets everything they want as they get older, because they are your baby, and you're, Hannah's paving the way. And all I keep thinking is, man, I can't wait to see what Aubrey's like at Hannah's age.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see Hannah in a year. I can't wait to see Hannah in 2 years. I mean, she's grown so much in 2.5 years, and it's going to be so, so wild. And they're just different kids, and your kids are going to be so different and maybe similar in some ways, but it's such a cool thing to have both of them and to see the differences and really hold on to that.
I was joking with my dad this weekend, like, as excited as I am to meet him, I'm also terrified of like a little Ryan is going to be feisty.
Yes.
It's going to be so fun though.
Yeah.
But,
Totally.
if Sierra's at the bar, I'm curious if he raises the bar.
It's going to be so different. And I mean, we'll see, because we'll be right next door. But all I keep hearing is, 0 to 11 for boys is really hard. And then it flops, and 11 on for the girls is really hard. So you're going to get to see it both. And, that's going to be really, really fun just to watch. Yeah.
Bring it on.
Right. As ready as you can be.
Yeah.
I mean, like in this stage, and I remember you specifically, just like Hannah got to a certain age where you're just like throwing her, putting her upside down, and she enjoys it. And it's like, that's where Sierra is now.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is like literally like throwing her on the bed into the pillows, and she just laughs and laughs. It's like, I've been waiting for this.
Yes.
Shine
This
my
unlocked.
moment.
Yeah.
I mean, and the nice part is you get confidence with the second kid. Like the first one, they're like glass, right? Like you don't know what to do. So like even now, I hang Aubrey upside down all the time. Like she loves it, and it's like, so it's just,
Stretching that spine out.
it's kind of
Like,
nice.
could you
that-
do that for me? Like my back could use a stretch.
So it's nice to have the first one to give you the confidence to do more with the second.
Oh, it's been so different with Aubrey. Like, you realize how resilient they are and how not made of glass they are. Like, my mom was laughing at me the other day because we have a stuffed animal, it's a mix between a blanket and a stuffed animal that my mom made for Aubrey. And I put it in the crib probably starting a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So when she was like 6 months. And with Hannah, I don't think I put a first thing in her crib with her until she was like 15 months.
Yeah.
And I stayed up that entire night because I was like, she's going to die. She's going to die. She's going to suffocate. And with Aubrey, I'm like, whatever it takes for you to go to bed, I'm in. Yeah.
What toys here?
Yeah,
Take all of
exactly.
it.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. That was a good piece of advice that I didn't really click in my mind until you shared it. Was like, what do you do if both kids are crying, but the toddler runs away or something? And you're like, you put the newborn down in a safe space and you chase after the toddler, right? Like,
Totally.
it's probably helpful when the baby can't move, for sure.
Totally, yeah.
Because like I'm like my new worry is less about the newborn phase. It's like when they both can move phase.
Yeah, they're
We're
going
almost
different
there.
directions. Like
We're
Yes.
almost there, and I'm getting really nervous. Well, maybe we're just going to have both of them on leashes.
Yeah.
just time together. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's bling and come back together.
Yeah.
And now I'm just thinking, like, if you want to go to the grocery store with both of them, you can't put them both in the cart unless you're going to Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Then we can have both of them. in
So
there.
we've
Then
we've
they
been
fight over who's in the cart. you
Right.
know?
we've been navigating that, and I mean, obviously, like Aubrey can sit up on her own now, and we still keep her in the car seat. But there have been times where same thing. Like we were like, all right, Aubrey has to sit in the top basket because she can be supported better, and Hannah like just hang on to the basket. You know, like you don't have to be in it, but you can. It's an adventure, and I actually like I enjoy conquering it, but it's hard. Like we haven't done restaurants, and everybody says do it early, and we did not. And Hannah's not. The 2 times we've been in a restaurant, it's been rough.
Yeah.
She just wants to run around, so yeah.
She likes to move.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Outdoor patio restaurants for the win.
Yes. Yeah. Let them. Yeah, for sure.
Just go play.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Another question was, like in those first few weeks, especially, like what type of help did you really want and need, and did you get it?
I can't remember. Did our parents come stay with us? My parents came and stayed at a hotel.
Your parents were here to take Hannah while we were at the hospital because we had a scheduled C-section, so we knew exactly what we were in for and when we were going in and when we were likely to come out. And it was so great having them focus on Hannah and give her the attention that while we were like, okay, we're going to try and figure this out. Like, how are we going to do this? Hannah, they were so great with Hannah and making sure that she had her own time. Like, I think both of us took Hannah out individually within the first 3 days of being home because we were like so worried about Hannah and what was going to happen. But his parents also cleaned a ton, which is amazing, and made us dinners. Like, they were so helpful in that. And then we had 2 weeks later, Thanksgiving. And so then we had both sets of parents here.
Right.
They came together and stayed in Airbnb together. And so like, it was like a shuffle. It was like, hey, can you take Aubrey now? I'm going to go to the grocery store by myself. It was wonderful.
Right.
You know, and then
my
like
gosh.
Hannah was with my brother or Hannah was with Brandon, you know, and so it was really like lean on those people. And as much as I wanted to hold and cuddle my little baby, I was like, here, I'll have plenty of time with her. Like give them that time, but getting time for yourselves and to go, even if you guys just run to the grocery store together, just the two of you, just be like, hey, we're going to make it through this. It's going to be hard, but we can do this. Let's do it.
I remember my first like Target run by myself. I was like, you can't pay for better therapy. Probably more expensive than therapy. But it was so, and I think I just like wandered up and down every aisle, didn't buy much, but just like processed it all. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm trying to think, even when our families were gone, it was nice because Hannah was still in school.
Yeah.
So I could take Aubrey, or you would take Aubrey, and we could kind of go do that as well. So it's just like have a plan. Like, hey, I'm going to take care of, you were taking care of Aubrey because you had to feed her so often. And I would take Hannah when she was home, and it's like, that's just what we're going to do. We're not going to argue about who's doing what or let the kids decide. It's like, I'll just take Hannah somewhere and keep her busy. And
that was really big of like us trying to communicate and make sure that, yes, I felt bad because I was with Aubrey so much in the beginning. And I would say that was like first 3 months easily. I was like all Aubrey, and I would feel really bad about Hannah and feeling like I really neglected her. And I kept saying to myself, you know what, this is temporary. Don't stress about that so much. It's hard. But, you get to those points where I'm like, I just need a Hannah day. And you have to take Aubrey and I know, she's going to be all right. She's going to be fine. She's a lot different. Like Hannah bonded with Brandon so well as a baby. And I wasn't jealous. I was like, thank goodness. Like, this is great. I was in a lot of, I recovered so poorly after Hannah, whereas with Aubrey, I was on my feet right away. And I was like, this is easy. I love this, But yeah, like, it was just so different. And then, bless you, it's kind of one of those things where like, you want that bond, but then you feel bad for the other one that when they're not getting that. So yeah, it's tough, but you just give yourself so much grace. Like, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna ask us for help if you need help, or you ask your parents for help. You ask anybody who will give you help. You take it.
Yeah.
Really.
I will say I feel like it was easier than I thought it was going to be when it was just us. Like, I thought it was going to be pandemonium. Like, both kids crying at the same time, and like it wasn't that bad.
They do that more now.
Yeah.
They cry together. They're in solidarity now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I agree with that. It wasn't as hard in the beginning as I thought. Again, like you
I
said,
think you build it up in your mind to
Right.
be like terrible. Like your kids, like the older one's always going to be running around and screaming, and the younger one's going to be crying for food. It's like, how do you find your bearings? But,
Yeah.
You have that experience, and you're like, it's going to be okay. Like,
just
Right.
put the younger one down. Like they're gonna be okay. I mean, you're obviously not gonna be like alone with. They're not gonna be alone for an hour.
No. Yeah.
We'll put them down. Handle the older one
Yeah.
because they remember that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then go back to the little one if it's how it is. Like trying to figure out why your baby's crying in the beginning. You're like, I have no idea. I don't know. Why are you crying? What's wrong with you? I don't know.
The Brandon and Lisa checkpoints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hungry, tired,
Yes.
sleepy,
Yeah.
Cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
Yep.
let's start over.
Yeah. Start all over
Start
again.
over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got anything else you feeling?
Oh, I was gonna just share. I shared it on this podcast before, but when you talked about your parents coming, that's still one of my favorite moments of one living next to each other, and then with Aubrey, I was on a work call and was focusing on my computer, and Brandon's dad comes sprinting over, and I didn't see him sprint over, but he was huffing and puffing by the time he got to my window.
Because
And
we
he's
share a yard.
Slams, he knocks on the door, and I was like startled by it. And he opens it up and he goes, she was born, and he was like, and we all thought it was gonna be one name. He's like, it's Aubrey, and we're like, what? And it was it was Ryan came out of his office, and it was
so
just
happy.
elation in his face
Yes.
was just unbelievable. That was really cool.
He is a very proud papa, lone
Yeah.
papa,
Yeah.
and he 5 times being a grandpa. But he just adores them, and it's just we're so
We can see
lucky.
it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, we're so lucky to have
We love when it happens.
people. Yeah,
Like total inspiration. I mean,
Oh.
again, we live right next to each other, and we see you at your best, but
Our worst.
and you're worst, but not. But at the same time, like you've made this look so possible,
Mhm.
it's
And-
definitely possible.
and you've made it look. You set expectations that it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world for sure, but it's going to be the most rewarding.
Yeah.
And like look in your face and just watching your two girls like just come to life is been awesome.
It's crazy.
And then again, doing that with Sierra, and then you guys still can be human and be adults and be yourselves, and come over here late at night, like and have a lives
I was just
out of
saying,
it. It's like
still enjoy your lives.
Yeah. so.
Well, you guys know, and we've talked about that. Like, I had to get off of social media because I was like, my kid's not skiing at 6 months. This is terrible, right? But like,
I'm a failure.
I'm a failure. We've talked about this of like making sure that you make time for yourselves and to go on dates together and reconnect. Like we went to Josephine's the one night to get dinner, and the two of us were just chatting, and we were like, me being me, just word vomited and like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to be able to talk and with somebody not being like, mom, mommy, mommy, like I'm having a serious conversation. More.
Right.
Right. So yeah, like it's and like we said, we've attempted camping. Camping's rough, but we're gonna keep trying because that's what, as you guys like to say a lot, fills my cup.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I need to fill my cup. That saying is just so silly to me.
I
But
know.
anyway, I know what you mean.
But
Uh,
I think the big thing to remember is like you guys are ready. Like you can do it.
you can do it.
But all you remember of having a kid is your first kid, and it was scary because you
Yeah.
knew nothing.
Yeah, no, well, you're-
So you expect the second kid to be the same, but you're going to be better at it. Like you just can't not be.
Yeah.
As good as you are with the first one, you're going to be better with the second. And when you do get to give the other person that time, it also makes you better at handling both of them. Like
Mhm.
it's scary when she goes out and she's like, "I'm leaving you with both the girls.
Oh
You got to
my
put them
gosh.
both down and take care of it." And it's like, do I know how to do that? Am I gonna be able to? But you do it, and it's fine. It's like, and then after the first time, it's the second time's easier, and the third time's easier, and then
Get
it
there.
becomes fun. So
That's what Brandon played in a golf tournament a couple of weekends ago, and I had the girls by myself on a Saturday, and I was like, I can do this. I'm mentally prepared to do this. I can do this all day. And like Brandon's like, I'll be home at 1. And then 1 comes and he's like, I'll be home at 3. And then 3 comes and he's not home. And I'm like, it's okay. I can do this. I can do this. And you know, it's like, it's scary because you're outnumbered.
Right.
And then I think about the people that have like 4 kids and
Oh
they're
my gosh.
always outnumbered. And you're like, you guys are amazing.
Amazing.
Those people are amazing. Or stay at
Some
home.
other neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna be fine.
you're going to do great. And we're always a text, a knock. We're so close away. We see you guys almost every
Throw
day
the
anyway.
ball on the side of the house.
Yeah, just
Right now.
I'll kick it like I did that one time. I got Brandon out right away.
Yeah, walkie-talkie.
Yes.
Yes. You guys
I know.
up? Yeah, we're
Well,
up.
we could do some color light that
Yes.
indicates we need
Yeah.
Oh, said no. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
That's really fun.
Soup cans. We have lots of ways.
I was thinking the soup cans too.
dogs
Yeah.
with notes. Oh,
Yeah, just put it on the collars. So
Montana.
many ways to get us.
Yes.
The way we like to wrap with guests is, Ryan, can you give us the best piece of advice that you've been given as a parent or that you could give others?
can I have 2?
Yeah.
One for myself and one from your dad, actually.
Ooh.
So Michelle's dad, we talked about this weekend, with 2 kids of his own back in the day, had a scenario of 2 kids screaming, going crazy in the house. He's there by himself. And rather than trying to put both of them in timeout, might exacerbate the problem, make it even harder. He's like, sometimes you just got to put yourself in timeout.
Yes.
You know, remove yourself from the situation. The kids will eventually calm down.
Kids have to be old enough to do that.
Yes,
but
it's not like newborn. This is
Yeah.
like older kids. Yes. And he said the time that he did that really helped him calm down and be able to walk back in the situation and be able to handle it.
Nice.
So that was really good.
It is good.
And the advice that I have is I feel like I'm a very planned person. And if things don't go exactly according to my plan, it flusters me. But I think of all things, the thing that I've learned from the most is you can have a plan with a child and it doesn't always go according to plan. And we've seen that in so many different ways of her not being the best sleeper, not being able to drink milk like most kids drink, and you and I drink a lot. And how can we pivot and, kind of just roll with the punches and keep being good parents. So being flexible and being able to adapt, I think it's been a huge thing that I've learned.
Being flexible is a very learned thing that is hard when you're so used to being the way you are.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm a very clean person, and things have places in our house. And it took me a long time to not get frustrated that things weren't where they should be. But once you slowly let go of things, it's like, hey, life is not going to stop. It's going to keep going, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So,
I wish we could do a 360 of our house because I feel you.
Yeah.
We came home to a clean house and within like 2 hours of being
Yep.
home.
and it's okay. It's okay.
Lisa, what was our question on 20 questions? Would you rather, I'm curious for you both, would you rather have a personal chef to make every meal or just always be around, or a house that's self-cleaned?
House itself clean.
No
100%.
doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Never any
backbreaking.
question.
Yeah, that was mine for sure.
I don't mind cooking, and I like Hannah loves to help cook
Yeah.
sometimes, so like that's fun. I would much
Yeah.
rather have the house clean all the time.
And especially if like the self-cleaning house also comes with cleaning the dishes after dinner.
That's a
Then-
great point. Yes.
Totally. I didn't think about that the first
Yeah.
time, but like I
Yeah.
love to cook. I just hate to clean the dishes.
The
Totally.
nightly amount of dishes is horrendous. I can't stand it.
Always. And if your daughters are like ours, they're just constantly throwing everything on the floor.
Yep.
Mhm.
You got to get new silverware, get a new bowl.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't
oh
do
my
it.
God.
I literally am like, you're taking this fork with 8 pounds of dog hair on it. I don't care. I'm not
You
doing
gotta
this.
learn.
Yeah. I know.
It's hard.
Ugh.
Yeah. Aubrey now doing salads.
I literally never give her dishes. She puts right on the tray. We're not doing
Yeah.
dishes for you. You may eat like this the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need
Plates
dishes.
overrated,
It's overrated.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just telling somebody, I understand why my parents raised us on paper plates.
Yeah.
And my mom's mortified when I tell people that. She's like, "Oh, that makes us sound so bad." I'm like, I get it.
I get it.
It's
Yeah.
so
So
much
practical.
easier.
Yes.
Yes. Totally.
I said a couple earlier that I thought were good advices, but I think one thing that Lisa has done that I think everyone should do is document everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never did, and like she said, you think you're gonna remember, and you don't. And Lisa's awesome because she'll like, I don't know what she does during the day, but she's like, "Do you know this day? You know when Hannah was this old, she did this," and I was like, "Really? Like that young?" Or something like that. Like it's really cool to be able to go back and see what they did when, especially when you have a second to kind of compare them. You know, you're not putting them against each other, but it's like, oh, Hannah was
Let
this.
the sibling rivalry begin.
Yeah.
Just like,
Right.
yeah.
Like,
Kind of like expectations, like, oh, when should we expect Aubrey to start
Yeah.
crawling?
Mhm.
Because I have no recollection whatsoever
Exactly.
of that,
When
right?
did that
Like I'll never forget that she
Yes.
started crawling at 6 months, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
like,
like the other day,
So funny.
you told me that Hannah started sucking her thumb at 6 months, and she is a terrible thumb sucker, and her thumbs are just raw. But Aubrey's already 8 months, and she hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, maybe she won't have that issue.
Yeah.
You know, like it's cool to be able to have that reference and just know that. So
Yeah.
write it down. Like Lisa has a cool book she writes in, and I'm excited, like 3-5 years from now, to go back and see where the kids are versus where they were then. And just go through it. So you don't think you'll want it in the time, but later on, you're like, I wish I would have it. So
Right.
mhm,
you did.
for
I
sure.
mean, even now, like every milestone, I feel like I completely have my memory erased, like Men in Black.
Exactly.
From, like before.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
she's
totally.
been walking for a year. Which one did she crawl? It's like,
Right.
wait, she crawled for like 6 months? I don't remember that.
Yeah. I know.
Wild.
And it is interesting, like Brandon said, you know, like I start to kind of beat myself up because Aubrey's way behind on milestones compared to Hannah. But I think about with Hannah, I literally read everything that was
Yeah.
like, today you should play musical instruments for your child.
Right.
And like all of that focus was on getting her to hit all those milestones. And with Aubrey, it's like, let's just get by today. Right.
Yes.
And
Her vibe.
she'll get there, and I'm not
Totally.
worried. Like Hannah missed a lot of milestones, and I was a wreck about it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, something's wrong. She's not babbling." And you know, same thing with Aubrey. I'm like, I know she's behind on a lot, but I know she's going to be fine. Like I'm not going
Totally.
to concern myself with it, like I did with the first. And
Right.
I'm excited to hear you guys when Parker comes and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember like that first week with Sierra just being terrified." And with Parker, I'm like, "Oh, he's so cute."
Yes.
You know, and like
Yes.
we can appreciate him more because we know he's not a fragile little being.
Mhm.
He's resilient, and like you said, he's been sick with you a ton.
Yeah.
He's gone through some stresses with you.
Mhm.
There's been a good amount of stuff that he's already been through, and
Yeah,
just
keep
making him
showing
stronger
up
for out
and he's-
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And you know, not that I was gonna add advice here, but like one of the things I always just mantras I keep in my head on in the stages and milestones is like, if you look at a group of people, you have no idea who was breastfed, who went to preschool or daycare from an early age, who crawled first, who
Yes,
talked first,
totally.
like none of
Who
this.
rolled over?
Who rolled
Yeah.
over?
So true.
Right? Like
Yeah.
who slept with a blanket early on? Right? Like
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. With Justin Timberlake.
Justin
Who
Timberlake.
slept with Justin Timberlake?
You can maybe like connect a few dots after that one, but but generally it's just like they're all gonna walk. It's all gonna be good. And so
Totally.
No.
Totally. I that's awesome advice. I think that was such a mind blowing thing the first time I heard that. Was like, you remember when you walked? Sure don't.
Yeah.
No. Sure don't. Yeah, like
Right.
no,
Yeah.
who knows? Right? That's great advice. So great. Thank you guys for joining us. This
Thanks,
was
fun,
this
guys.
was
Good
awesome. So
Good job.
yeah,
you can see why our podcast goes so long.
yeah, you just start rolling like
Yes.
we could keep going and
Yeah.
going, right? But
So Mom Jeans is going to take about a month break. So we'll be back. We're going to take the month of July off because we've got some trips going on. We've got just a lot going on with everybody.
Vacation.
Summer vacation for us. So we'll be back in August and we're super excited about that. But and then Michelle.
Yeah, and my news to share is that I will not be coming back as I normally do as kind of a core mom gene. I'm hoping to get ready for this pregnancy, and it's been a lot more physically demanding, as we've just talked about, and mentally straining with a lot of other things going on. So I'm going to take a breather from it, but I am absolutely going to come back and tell my birth story.
Yes.
And be a special guest as needed in the future. So I am just, again, number one fan of Mom Jeans. Always will. Be your top listener is my goal. And really just wishing for all the success and excited to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, she won't be a stranger. We'll definitely tap her in when we need to. Like, this is an impromptu night of, hey, let's record. And she was awesome to fill in and want to jump in on this. And we so appreciate that. And, you were a huge instrumental part of getting this up and going. You've done so much for Mom Jeans. So you'll always be a part of Mom Jeans and never lose that. So it's like sisterhood of traveling pants.
Exactly.
The pants will always fit. You have to come back. But so we're totally understanding and appreciative of stepping away and also knowing you guys live right next door and we're going to continue growing together. And unfortunately for you guys, your kids will be part of our podcast forever because we'll be talking about our backyard meetups and everything like that. So, yeah.
And I got to state something for the record. So I made the mistake early on mentioning that my dad doesn't always say profound things. And I've never heard the end of it from my dad. One, I appreciate he was listening, but I didn't expect him to be our target market of listeners. So he is contributing to our success. But he has said so many profound things since that episode. And, as I look back, he's actually extremely profound. He had a great quote this weekend when we had this beautiful rainbow down where we were. And he said, in life that in order to get a rainbow, you got to go through rain first. And I'm like, it's a beautiful piece of advice. Super profound. So
true.
For the record, both my parents are awesome. They're both profound. And now I feel like I can exit peacefully from Mom Jeans.
Yes. I love it. Well, I love your parents. They're great people. So, I love both of your parents, both sets of your parents. They're so great.
Same to you guys.
I know
And
that.
we're all going to just buy a house together.
Oh my gosh. What a dream that would be. I've been looking at some $2 million properties. If we can get them to afford that, that'd be wonderful, right? Yeah, I know. Hannah still every once in a while. Where'd Rhea go? And Maria is Ryan's mom, and she just adores her. It's so sweet.
She get a new knee. Should be
She's
back ready
getting
to run around.
Oh, exciting. Well, good. All right. Well, we're going to sign off for Mom Jeans for a month or so, and we will be back soon. So thank you all for listening, and keep tuning in.
And that wraps up another episode of Mom Jeans, trying to fit into motherhood. Thank you again so much for listening to us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider giving us 5 stars so other mothers out there like you can find us and listen. If you would like, you could follow us on any of our socials at Mom Jeans the podcast. If you have questions, would like to send us your birth story, or give us suggestions or things that you would like to hear, please email us at hello@momjeansthepodcast.com. See you next week.